The Zephyrian Grand Council had spent 3 centuries perfecting what they called the infinite paradox, a mathematical linguistic puzzle so complex that it had become the ultimate test of intellectual superiority across 12 galactic sectors. The crystalline structure floating in the center of their most prestigious academy contained over 47 million interconnected variables, each one dependent on solutions derived from languages that had been extinct for millennia. Ambassador Crixtal stood before the assembled delegates from across the known galaxy, his 4 arms gesturing elegantly toward the shimmering puzzle. Representatives from the Andromedans, the silicon-based quarks, the hive-minded collective of Vex, and dozens of other species had gathered for this momentous announcement. Behold, Crixtal's voice resonated through the chamber's translation matrix. The ultimate challenge. For 300 standard years, our greatest minds have labored to create something truly unsolvable. Every computational matrix, every quantum probability engine, every psychic network has failed. This puzzle represents the absolute pinnacle of intellectual achievement. The gathered aliens murmured among themselves in their various forms of communication. The Andromedans' bioluminescent patterns flickered rapidly. The collective's shared consciousness buzzed with excitement. Even the usually stoic quarks' crystalline bodies hummed with interest. The rules are simple, Crixtal continued. Any species that can solve the infinite paradox will be granted full membership in the Galactic Empire, along with all the privileges that entails. Access to our trade networks, our technology, our knowledge archives. But be warned. Failure results in a century-long probationary period where your species will be classified as intellectually insufficient. The puzzle itself was a thing of terrible beauty. Streams of data flowed through translucent chambers, creating patterns that shifted between mathematical equations and linguistic constructs from dead civilizations. It required understanding of base 47 arithmetic, fluency in 17 extinct languages, knowledge of quantum mechanics that operated on principles that most species hadn't even discovered, and the ability to solve temporal paradoxes that existed in 11 dimensions simultaneously. For weeks, the galaxy's greatest minds attempted the challenge. The Andromedans brought their bio-neural computers that could process information faster than light itself. The collective linked their entire species' consciousness in a desperate attempt to brute force the solution. The quarks constructed specialized, crystalline matrices that could calculate probabilities across infinite timelines. All failed. The puzzle seemed to mock their efforts, shifting its parameters each time they approached a solution. It was adaptive, learning from each attempt, and becoming more complex. After a month of failures, many species began to whisper that the Zephyrians had created something truly impossible, not just difficult, but actually unsolvable by any form of intelligence. Then the humans arrived. Captain Sarah Chen of the ICE Earth delegation stepped off their modest transport ship with a team of 12 individuals. While other species had brought their most advanced computers, their greatest scholars, their most sophisticated AIs, the humans brought what appeared to be a random assortment of people: a barista from Seattle, a crossword puzzle enthusiast from London, a grandmother who ran a small shop in Mumbai, a teenager who spent most of his time playing video games, and others who seemed equally unremarkable. The Zephyrians were initially insulted. Here was their masterwork, their centuries-long achievement, and these newcomers had brought what appeared to be tourists. "Where are your scientists?" Crixtal asked, his translator struggling to mask his disdain. "Your computational experts? Your quantum theorists?" Captain Chen smiled. "Oh, they're here. Dr. Martinez there has 3 PhDs in theoretical physics, but we've found that the best way to solve impossible problems isn't always to throw our smartest people at them." The human delegation was given access to the puzzle chamber. The assembled aliens watched through the observation deck as the 12 humans stood around the infinite paradox. They didn't bring any advanced equipment. They didn't jack into quantum computers or link their consciousness. They simply talked. The barista, Maria Santos, tilted her head and said, "You know, this reminds me of when customers order a coffee with everything but nothing back home. It sounds impossible until you realize they want black coffee." The teenager, Kevin Walsh, was spinning slowly in place, staring at the data streams. It's like that boss in Temporal Rift. You can't beat it by being stronger or faster. You have to do something it doesn't expect. Dr. Martinez was scribbling equations on a piece of actual paper, an artifact that made several alien observers recoil in disgust at its primitiveness. The mathematical progressions here follow a pattern, but they're designed to lead you into circular logic. What if we ignore the math entirely and focus on the linguistic components? The grandmother, Priya Sharma, had brought a thermos of tea and was methodically working through what appeared to be a small cloth puzzle, the kind used to entertain children. In my shop, when the till doesn't balance, it's never because the numbers are wrong. It's because I'm looking at the wrong numbers. What happened next would be analyzed by xenopsychologists for decades. The humans didn't approach the puzzle as a monolithic challenge to be conquered through superior intellect. Instead, they broke it down into thousands of smaller problems and distributed them according to each person's particular talents and perspectives. The crossword enthusiast tackled the linguistic elements. The video game player identified pattern recognition shortcuts. The barista applied service industry problem-solving to the logical paradoxes. But most importantly, they did something no other species had thought to do. They ignored the puzzle's own rules. While other aliens had accepted that the infinite paradox must be solved within its own parameters, the humans simply changed the parameters. Dr. Martinez realized that the puzzle was designed to be unsolvable within base 47 arithmetic, so she converted everything to base 10. Kevin noticed that the temporal paradoxes only existed if you accepted linear time flow, so he treated them as simultaneous events. Maria approached the extinct languages not as dead communication systems, but as coffee shop orders where context mattered more than literal translation. 6 hours and 43 minutes after entering the puzzle chamber, well before their breakfast meeting the next day, the humans had not only solved the infinite paradox, but had also identified 14 separate ways to solve it, including 3 methods that the puzzle's own creators hadn't known existed. The crystalline structure dissolved into harmless light, its final display showing a simple message in universal script. Solution accepted. Welcome to the Galactic Empire. The observation deck fell silent. 3 centuries of Zephyrian intellectual pride collapsed in less than 7 hours. Species that had spent decades attempting the puzzle watched in stunned amazement as the humans casually discussed lunch plans. Ambassador Krixtal found his voice first. How? He asked, his translator, making his bewilderment clear to everyone present. Our greatest minds, our most advanced systems, Captain Chen interrupted gently. That was your first mistake. You assumed this required great minds and advanced systems. She gestured toward her team, who were now sharing Maria's coffee, and Priya's tea while Kevin showed Dr. Martinez something on his handheld gaming device. Humans have a saying, Chen continued. When you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. You created this puzzle using the most sophisticated tools imaginable, so you assumed it could only be solved with equally sophisticated tools. But sometimes the best way to deal with complexity isn't to match it, it's to sidestep it entirely. The teenager Kevin looked up from his game. Plus, we've been solving impossible problems since we figured out how to make fire. We're kind of used to it. And with that casual comment, delivered between sips of tea and bites of breakfast pastry, humanity claimed its place in the Galactic Empire, not through superior technology or advanced evolution, but through the most human trait of all, the absolute refusal to accept that anything was truly impossible.